see who our next ambassadors are for the nation. But thank you for your time this morning.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We're going to take a short pause here, and then we'll be back with some of the sounds of the memorial ceremonies in Broken Arrow for the Coon family and some of the music that went along with it. Please stay with us here on Mvskoke Radio, and we'll be right back. Okay, we want to thank Jared Moore once again for supplying us with some audio. He went over to the ceremony in the Broken Arrow and the dedication of the silhouette of former of the Coon family and their son there, and he brought back some material to share with us. First of all, we have some Kiowa and Omaha singers, and then an address from Michael Coon himself. So stay with us right here, and we're going to share that right now.
All right, the next presentation will be by Terry Ware and the Omaha Kiowa tribe with the Omaha Lodge Singers.
Good afternoon. My name is Gordon Mhula, and I will be rendering 3 songs today: our traditional Kiowa flag song, and a memorial song for all our fallen warriors, and a victory song for our colors.
So I'd like to introduce Michael Coon.
Thank you. I think the general's almost said about everything I wanted to say, and everybody else that went before me. But it's an honor here to be here today to honor my son. I love you, brother.
Love you, Michael.
But
You got it.
I have all of these military brothers and sisters here today. Just give their support, their prayers that helped me through this. When I first started doing this with Mission 22, I didn't know where I was going with this, what I was going to do with it, but the men upstairs had a plan for me. How I was going to reach out and touch other lives, Gold Star lives, Blue Star lives, all veteran brothers and sisters in the armed forces. So that gave me a mission and a passion to reach out to veterans about suicide awareness, to prevent this pandemic that we have going on with our veterans. That we need to step forward to help our brothers and sisters in arms. Right now with Mission 22, we have like 20 veterans a day that we lose to suicide. That's too many a day that we lose. We don't lose that even in battle. So we need to reach out to our vets and show them that you have their support and that they can, you touch their heart. Tell them thank you for their service. I don't think that when they get out that they're not worthy, but they're more than worthy because they signed on that dotted line to give their life for our country. So today is the day that we honor my son. My son was in the military 10 years. Of all the stories I heard about him in the military, I kept asking him, are we talking about the same son that I sent off to the military? My son was always a jokester, always getting in trouble, but when I heard the stories about his military life, how he took care of his squad, his soldiers, everybody that was beneath him, even his superiors and stuff that reached out to him when we lost him on that day on 2015, that all they had was good praise about how good of a soldier he was. I know that my grandfather, or my father, would really be proud of his grandson, what he turned out to be. But as things go, you have to continue on the fight. So that's what I have done with Mission 22, to become the steward of the memorial, to bring this memorial here to Broken Arrow, to make it a national monument, so that we'll be the first here in the state of Oklahoma to have a national monument here in Oklahoma. Nobody else. We have it for the fallen, but we don't have one for the war home. So this will be the first of its kind for our veterans and stuff. I like to reach out to Jim Umbenauer, Deborah Wimpy. That since we've been with day one of installing, finding a place for this memorial to go. The memorial that I'm talking about there is 4 foot by 10 foot, and these silhouettes are 1,000 pounds apiece. And it's heartbreaking when I look at all the silhouettes of the soldiers and everything that gave so much to our country and for our freedom. That was my passion right there. It was to jump on and to be the steward of the memorial for the war home. So I take that with great pride as far as being the steward of the memorial for Mission 22, as far as going out there, talking at different states and stuff about Mission 22, about what our organization is all about, and also about our buddies here with Eagle Ops joining in with us. Mission 22 had joined with Eagle Ops and stuff as far as veteran suicide. We need more. They were younger, they call them Grandpa and Grandma. But that's the bond that we have. With all these veterans that came here today from out of state, that's the brotherhood and the sisterhood that we have. That's that bond that we have formed in the military for us all to come together and everything, to be one, and to be that force, to reach out to our civilians and everything, to let them know that none of our soldiers will be left behind, that we will always be behind them. So today, I'd like to thank the Military History Center for accepting the donation from the families and everything, and for honoring my family. My son had three sons and a daughter. Dalton, would you stand up? This is my son's oldest. The second oldest. Omaha, his 3 sons, and his daughter. And it's Katie. The one thing that I remember about them when my son was still with us is during Halloween, they wanted to be superheroes. And my son just got back from one of his deployments, and it was Halloween, and they were going down the street, and my son put a cape on. And all of them were dressed up in their superpower heroes and stuff as they were walking. But I thought that was a good tribute with their dad to do that, going down there and stuff. My son also had a brother, older brother. Jeremy, he's not here today, but his wife, Jennifer, his 2 nieces, Jerica and Jaden, are right there. And my other grandson that I have, Miko. My grandson, these are my parents, where they cherished these young ones coming up. And then I'd like to acknowledge my daughters, Summer, Raven, Sky, Raven, where's Raven? Always hiding. But I like to also, when I lost my parents, and I had no one to help me reach out when I felt like I was alone. But I had my nephew. My nephew's like my brother. He was always at my back. Robert, stand up. This is my sister's son. My parents had just me and my sister, and my sister had 1 son. So, growing up, when I started doing all this military stuff, I didn't have nobody to really reach out to help. I didn't have no siblings to help me. So I had to think of different ways. That's where my military family came in, because they all jumped in, the prayers, the support. They all came behind me and said, "We're there, brother. We're there for you. Whatever you need, we will be there for you." So I give a shout out to all of my veterans, my brothers and sisters here today, all the ones that you see today that came to dedication of my son, how supportive they were of the family and of the military and of the center here that we have here today. I thank everybody for being here, to give all our tribal council, our chief, our former chief, our present chief, all the those for you for having us. Because when we started Mission 22, our principal chief David Hill was at that time a tribal council member, and him and Dale Beaver were on board with me to help get this going within the nation. Also, then we got Deborah Whippy involved with the Broken Arrow Council. Jim Obernow with the BFW, getting us steered in the right direction. So with those type of people and stuff, then I wasn't alone. I had my Blue Star mothers over here that I go to their meetings, the things that they do, that they never get enough recognition, but I really support them, and I really appreciate them for what they do to our families overseas, that they take care of our warriors that's overseas and stuff, our loved ones and stuff. I give you a big no and a salute to you, to your organization, for what your group does. Yeah, for the Gold Star families here, all the Gold Star families we have here today, I appreciate your support and everything that you have given us as far as going on with this memorial. I also like to thank General Mancini for his staff, and then for the new for our Mission 22 ambassadors and everything that come here to make this event happen, to make sure that we're getting the word out about our veterans. We have some that's here that in the background, but there's still Mission 22 ambassadors and stuff that they reach out. So I'll give enough that we can have some more singing and enough of me talking. So it's been a pleasure being here today. I appreciate the crowd and everything that showed the support for the family and for everything that you have done and for our continued journey to make this a big success when the next one that we have will be done daily at Veterans Park. But thank you.
With all the focus on COVID vaccines, we thought we would rerun a piece here that encourages you to do that. For those folks who aren't sure, I've had them both shots, and I'm doing just fine. I understand there are folks who haven't been, some reaction. But we thought we would remind you, and we were told by federal officials earlier today that this COVID may be around for a long time, just sort of like the flu. So maybe a vaccine's not such a bad idea. Today we're here to check out the procedures for the COVID-19 vaccination. We're at the Coweta facility here, and I will actually be getting my shot today. And we'll check with staff to find out what their challenge is and how they're meeting it and serving citizens.
So I'm Sid Daniel. I'm the health administrator here for the Coweta Indian Health Facility. And currently we're working on getting vaccinations for our population group here that's registered and active patients at our facility. Currently we've done about 1,000 vaccines to date since we started at mid-December-ish. And so that's our goal.
All right, now, is your system any different from, like, say, a federal facility? This is a federal facility, but a tribal unit like this, has any differences at all?
So no differences that I'm aware of. Obviously, they have their rules, and we kind of go by the tribal guidelines. I don't know there specifically. If you called up, say, Claremore Indian Hospital, what their guidelines are as far as tiers or phases or where they're at on their vaccinations. But so we use our guidelines from Mvskoke Creek Nation Department of Health leadership.
Okay. And when you're accepting applications for the vaccine, what sort of requirements are involved?
So we're basing our vaccines right now on phases or tiers. And so the initial phase was all of Mvskoke Creek Nation Department of Health healthcare workers. And then after we got that completed successfully, we kind of branched out to those age 65 and older, or underlying healthcare conditions if they were under 65. And then we'll hopefully eventually move out to other tiers such as school teachers and school workers, just general population that don't necessarily fall under that first phase. So currently we are still on that phase 1 kind of B or C tier. We're still trying to get all of our 65 and over elder patients in. We're still trying to reach all of those underlying healthcare condition patients. So that's really what we're focused on. We're actually pretty close to that for just this facility. The other facilities are working their lists as well. And so we're trying to reach out to our patients proactively and say, you fall into this category, are you interested in the vaccine? And if they are, they come in, they get scheduled and get a shot.
When you accept a patient, an applicant for the vaccine, is there anything particular process they have to go through or information supply?
Sure. So currently, if they call us and they say they would like a vaccine, we're putting them on a list. And we are still working on the list that's developed by our information technology group that has filtered those lists of active patients. So we're putting them on those that call in. We're putting them on a list, and then once we get past our first 2 phases, we'll reach out to them and get them vaccinated, depending on whether they qualify for age or underlying healthcare condition or those kinds of things. If we know they're our patient, we look them up. If they've called us and we know they're in one of those categories, we automatically put them into a schedule. If they're a non-registered patient and they've called interested in the vaccine, then at some point in the next 3 or 4 weeks, we're hopeful to get to them and get them on board, and they'll register with our registration department, and we'll get them in and get them a vaccine.
Okay, now you mentioned 1,000 doses already.
Mm-hmm.
Is it something that's popular, word of mouth kind of thing? What do you hear from people who are coming forward?
Right. So It's been a little bit of a struggle too when we've reached out on our list to get the patients to accept the vaccine. We're running about a 40 or a 50% acceptance rate. And so about 1 out of every 2 calls that we make, they'll want the vaccine. And so but it has helped word of mouth for those that have received the vaccine that they haven't had any issues at all with side effects. So that really has helped us with that cause. We're getting a lot of patients that come in to say, hey, my aunt or my uncle got the vaccine. My grandma, she didn't have any trouble with it. How can I get on the list? So that's really positive, and we're looking forward to branching out once we do get to that next tier to get that done.
Okay, final question here, and before we get to the actual process. What are you hearing, I guess, from citizenship when they're, first of all, curious, perhaps a little doubtful, and wondering how long it will take them? I mean, is the load overbearing or what?
Right. So the 2-part question there. So the first part is we really aggressively tried to get our doctors and our healthcare providers to reach out to their patients, especially those with underlying healthcare conditions or 65 and older, to really promote this vaccine and kind of talk to them and give them some information about what to expect and how to get it and all of those things. We also have developed a vaccine hotline where they can kind of go through the menu. It's a self-serve menu, and it gives them some information as well on the vaccine. So curiosity about side effects and those kinds of things, it's listed on there. So what we're hearing is just a lot of positive results after the vaccine. There was a lot of concern with side effects in the media because it just wasn't known. It's a brand new vaccine. It was done very quickly. People were worried about it. So there wasn't a lot of data out there with that. But all of the vaccinations that we've been able to provide, we've had no severe reactions, a little bit of a sore arm, those kinds of things, a little headache, a little fever maybe. But for the most part, it's been very, very easy to take.
You've got people in rural situations. Are you doing some outreach there? And what kind of vaccine are you using? I know there are 2 types out there, one requiring special storage in cold. What do we got here?
That's a great question. So we're using both Pfizer and Moderna for the Mvskoke Creek Nation Department of Health. In particular, I don't have the sub-zero extra storage cold freezer unit here, so we've been giving all Moderna at this facility. A couple of our facilities has been able to acquire a sub-zero freezer, and so they are able to collect that Pfizer and store it properly and use that particular vaccine. They're both mRNA technology, and so really one versus the other, it's going to be the same effect. And so it just so happens that we've used Moderna, others have used both Moderna and Pfizer.
Okay, what's the next step now that we made the contact here?
So next step for you is to get you up to registration and get you signed in, and then we'll go through the process of checking a consent form and checking your medical history, getting you to a screener, getting you vaccinated, watching you for 15 to 20 minutes to make sure you don't have any kind of side effects, and then you'll be done.
You ready to get a vaccination today?
Yeah, let's give it a shot, shall we?
Let's get a shot today. All right. So they explained to you this is your vaccination card, and it's going to be the Moderna vaccine, and that's the lot number. Today's date. You'll return on the 11th at 2 p.m. for your second vaccination shot, okay?
Right.
So which arm would you like to have your vaccination?
Let's go with this one.
The left? Okay. And you just relax your arm. Just relax. No, don't stiffen up. Just relax it down. There you go. Just relax.
At this point, do you ever have any problems with people getting a shot? I mean, being scared or?
Well, they're scared,
or
but
more?
just relax, and we just go 1, 2, 3, and then it's pretty well over. 1, 2, 3, it's over. Over. You didn't even have a drop of blood, but we're going to put this bandage on it just in case. There you go. It's all done.
Now, if there are any side effects, what might I look for?
Well, you might have a little bit of shortness of breath, but we really have very, very few reactions. So you'll sit out here in the observation room for 15 minutes, and if you have anything, there's a doctor out there, and she will help you, okay?
great.
So I'm going to write down the time. It's 10:02, and if you can have a seat out there for 15 minutes, then you'll be free to go. Okay?
Well, no surprises so far. It's not sore. So does this look normal like it's supposed to?
It looks perfectly normal, and your 15 minutes are up.
All right, great.
Any trouble breathing, itchiness, scratchy throat?
All right. Well, thank you so much. We
You're
appreciate it. You all were great. Didn't even have a sore arm after that. Well, we got to wrap this up. Thanks for being a part of our team here today, Lenny.
Thank you for having me today.
It was a great interview. Well, let's get out of here. I want to say Maro Mabo Hedgetscut, and catch us next week for more Mvskoke Radio.